Hi, this is Luigi Subtil. I play Sean Archer on Chicago Med, and you're listening to Men and Family Chats.
Welcome back to FFC. I'm Maureen.
And I'm Jeanette.
And it has been a month since I have been on an FFC podcast, which is just unnerving in so many ways because I'm usually on 2 to 3 FFC ones a week. So that was got a little break in front of the camera. But tonight we are doing things a little backwards, and we're going to keep doing this for the rest of the season, which is only 3 more episodes. So not a big deal. But we're starting with PD tonight, and we will start with PD for all the rest of the Chicago podcast for the rest of their current seasons. And we are getting what we asked for this week with a heavy Kevin storyline. We've been talking about how we want the others to come in. I wish that Torres wasn't absent so frequently. What else? He's got to be working on another project.
Well, I was actually curious. I'm like, both, not just Benjamin, but Patty too. I feel like they are both just so infrequent in like the episodes that I'm like, do they have something else going on? And they're never in an episode together, it feels like, other than like one time. I'm like, we can have Torres and like Ruzek. It would be fine with me. We don't need to like have one or the other. Like, I want them all there. But what he was like helping, he was some sort of trial. Is that what they said? I don't know. There was something. Hank explained it real briefly. But
I appreciate that they do that though, where they slip that in.
Yeah. So we're not like, where are they? No.
They built him up so much that we love him, and then he's just gone.
I know. But it was a lot of Kevin, so you can't complain when you got a lot of Kevin.
Nope, not at all.
You know, I don't know how Kevin's dad. Okay,
that made me sad.
It did. I totally I get where Kevin's coming from on this, like keeping his dad at arm's length, and because I have to admit, like, I didn't know what to think about his dad. I still don't fully know what to think about him. But I mean, he didn't want to let him help with like stuff throughout the building. And you know, he's just sort of like hard no on any of this. And I guess he's just skeptical, which I get, you know, I get that he's not able to trust him. Why would he? You know, I mean, he's never been able to trust him in his life. So I get it.
It just sucks because you know that his dad is trying. And when we found out the reason his dad went to jail, I fully trusted him. I don't remember. Did he tell Kevin what actually happened there? Or does just the audience know?
I thought Kevin knew.
That's what I thought too. But Kevin's being awfully closed off and hard to him, knowing that that's the reason he went to jail.
I think it's still just the matter of this man's been absent basically his whole life. And so that's hard to like, I don't know. It's hard to kind of put your trust back out there and be able to do that. I get it. I mean, he came around at the end, you know, after we found out that like, you know, Lou is doing sort of what he couldn't do for Kevin, which I do appreciate that he's trying to make that up in those ways. Helping these kids. Because I gotta admit, this whole episode, I didn't trust him. I was like,
no. What are you doing with them?
What are you doing with these kids? Have you gotten them in trouble? Like, I didn't trust it at all. So I'm glad that it didn't turn out that way because I thought for sure we were going to have like realize that Lou was not trustworthy, but he is, you know. So, and now that Kevin understands that, you know, he threw him a little bone here, like, you know, can you help with this radiator? You know, because I don't know anything about it, and so that's a nice start. So hopefully that's something we see continue, and that their relationship can, you know, kind of build from there.
And I think part of the problem too is that Lou was not telling Kevin. Like, Kevin had no idea he was hanging out with kids in the building and in the neighborhood. No idea. Like, so the fact that Lou is telling Kevin things, especially why he's helping these kids, I think that went a long way. Those are things Kevin needs to hear. It's not just like, oh, that's information that maybe you might find interesting. No, he needs to hear those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, had he known that, he would have understood why Lou was in the basement with Malik, and he would have it wouldn't have put suspicion on him right away when we find Malik down there. I don't know.
And I think for me the timing was off because when Kevin came to the building, Lou was leaving. I thought. But maybe he was just hanging outside with the kids, and Kevin assumed that he was leaving. So when he was in the basement with Malik, I was like, what did he do?
They were definitely trying to paint a picture for the audience to not trust Lou as well. I think they were trying to make us like not sure, because I was like, up until I think the last scene, I was like, I don't know about him. No, I think he's up to something. Like, you couldn't have convinced me otherwise at that point.
I was Kevin this episode. I was equal parts skeptical and believing for the best.
Yeah.
Because I think Kevin really struggled with that the whole episode. I think he was both of those things the entire episode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And Malik, oh my gosh, that kid was so young. Was he 12, did they say?
Yeah.
Shot in the chest. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. And they did find out that Lou is helping. That's how we find out, because the neighbor woman upstairs sees a kid fleeing and then says in the most cryptic way possible, your dad knows these boys. Like,
one of the boys your dad knows. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Can you
How does
maybe
he know
say he
them?
plays soccer with them, or he like what? Tell
Yeah.
him what's happening there, because
Yeah.
the way you said it just sounds like he's running a 12-year-old sized drug ring out of his
Yeah.
apartment.
Yes, it was very cryptic. I didn't like it.
But that's when, and I love how hard Lou fought for Oscar too. And he's like, no, Oscar did not do this. He did not. You have to find the other reason. And when they find him, the heroin and gun under his bed, even the look on Oscar's sister's face was completely horrified. No, it's not him. He doesn't do this. This isn't him. And it was so sad to watch Oscar take all of the credit and all of the blame for everything. So stone-faced. So, I mean, obviously no one believed him, as they shouldn't, because he's a 12-year-old boy who clearly doesn't have access to that kind of heroin and a gun. But the way he says it is so sure of himself that this is what I have to do.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, something I didn't like after that interrogation is the way that Lou kind of came at Kevin with all of this. And even when he was downstairs, first of all, what was it, Trudy, when she's like,
I
hey,
love that.
He said, I'm his father. And she was like, this is my like police station. And I love how Kevin was like, that's not a path you want to go down. Like, we're not, you don't want to go there. Cause I'm thinking, no, sir. And two, you obviously don't know your son. It goes both ways here, because the fact that you are even implying that Kevin would just let this kid take the fall without doing everything he possibly can means you don't know him at all. Because Kevin is going to fight for this kid. But he can only do so much with the evidence provided. I mean, Voight is going to fight for this kid. They're all going to fight for these kids.
Yeah.
If they can. So just sit back and let them do their job, you know?
And Kevin gave him nothing. He gave him no information. He just said, we're going to see where this goes, and we're going to do what we do. And that was all he said. But then he immediately went back upstairs, was like, all right, this is what we got. This is what we're doing. This is what we need to do. Yeah. Because Lou was not supposed to be involved. Lou's involvement would harm what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. He's just like a citizen. Like you're not even related to this child. So it's not.
Exactly.
I mean, you're lucky they let you sit in that interrogation room. They did that just for Oscar's sake. You know, I mean, because he trusted you. And I was actually too. I'm not sure if that would happen in real life, but
no.
Because
they have the child advocate right there.
Yeah. Which I mean, I don't know. The kid probably would have been he was a little more at ease, but he still didn't tell the truth. So I'm not sure that it even helped having him in there, but either way.
And I mean, it's through this police work that they do so well. I mean, this is what's why am I blanking on what the name of their team is? Intelligence. My goodness. Of course, that's the word I would forget. But that's what the intelligence team is so good at doing. And whether or not, and like, it almost felt like Lou didn't trust the entire system, but Lou, it was by himself, it was by his own actions that got him thrown in jail. It wasn't because there was cop corruption. It wasn't because the police force did him dirty or did him wrong.
Yeah.
No, you screwed up and you got caught. So the fact that he doesn't have faith in this system, but B, doesn't have faith in his son, who raised his other kids, and he's seen the evidence of how good that turned out, that he doesn't trust in that was insane. But it was through their police work that they do that deep digging. They found Oscar's dad, and I could not for the life of me remember his dad's name. Honestly, I don't think he's worth remembering because he's a piece of crap. But they realized obviously that the drugs and guns have to be his. He was in jail before. And he came out and is suddenly in Oscar's life. And I hate this guy. I hate
this guy is terrible for many reasons. Okay. First reason, he hurt Ruzick.
I really that was going to be your first reason.
Like really bad. I'm like, why is Ruzick always being beat up? Always being beat up. It's really unfair. But and then he almost broke Kevin's arm too when he was slamming it in the door. I'm like, my goodness. I mean, that is someone. That's brave. Like, not only are you running from the police, but like you are like
beating the crap out of them.
Like that's brave right there. Because now, like if nothing else, they can get you for that. So, shouldn't have done it.
Kind of lucky for them that he did do that, because then they had an excuse the whole time to go after him.
Yeah.
I did like when Kevin was like, "You okay?" And Rusek said, "Not gonna lie, I've been better."
And what he said to Kim too, like, what are you gonna say to, when it's undercover? Why did I blank on that guy's name? Either way, but he was like, I'm gonna tell him they should see the other guy, which is completely untrue. Because like the other guy was fine. It was just you that got beat up. But no, but like, so they were able to find him at the bar. They ping his phone, whatever. I'm still skeptical of Lou, because I think my reaction was the same as Kevin's when he was like, "Oh my God," when he saw him there. I'm like, what are you doing?
And how did he find him?
The thing is,
the police force had trouble finding him.
Exactly. I'm with you. I don't understand how he found him and how he decided that he should go there to this bar. I know when he explained to Kevin what his plan was. The thing is, it was a decent plan.
Yeah. If it was sanctioned.
If you had let the police in on it, they could have done that and it might have actually worked. And in this case though, like, you had to go in there and like,
because Lou refused to go out. Kevin called him and Lou refused to leave.
Exactly.
And what I don't understand is, why did they send Kevin in? Because Kevin obviously already had a run-in with this. I mean, I get it's for Lou's sake, because Lou would recognize him. But Lou was aware that the police force was outside because Kevin just called them. So I think anyone coming in trying to get Lou out, Lou was smart enough to realize, oh, they're a cop. But to send in Kevin, who was known to this guy tried to break his arm. How did you see that playing out any differently?
Agreed. I mean, send in Kim and Haley then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I didn't understand that either. But
I think it's because Lou saw Kevin and was trying to not react, and because he's not an undercover cop, he didn't pull it off very well.
No.
And whatever Oscar's dad's name is, I don't remember.
Doesn't even matter
but
anymore.
He realizes, because he's not an idiot and he is a criminal, that there's something going on, and he takes Lou captive outside. And then part of me would be like, yeah, Lou, get him, when Lou elbowed him in the face. But at the same time, hey, you dummy. You are the reason this went south. I still can't. I rewatched it. I rewound it because it looked like he got stabbed in the shoulder. It looked like the guy had his right arm onto his neck, but Lou got stabbed on his left shoulder. And I was like, how are the physics of this working? How did this happen?
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to that, but now that you say it, it does seem off.
And maybe his arm was on the other, but even if his arm was in the left hand and he got stabbed in the left shoulder, like he elbowed him this way, he went this and then stabbed. Like, what? I didn't get it. But Lou got hurt, and Kevin, I liked watching Kevin aggressively take this guy down. I enjoyed that part. It kind of looked like he was going to beat the crap out of him, which I was sincerely hoping for.
Deserved. Absolutely. I mean, because this guy, like, no redemption whatsoever, even when they get him back to the station, and you're telling him, they're telling you are going to jail either way. Don't let your child go down for this. And he's just like, basically like, not my problem. Like,
and what he said was, you keep, because they're like, this is your son, and he said, you keep saying that like it means something to me, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
What kind of monster says that?
Like, I mean, that's a low. I mean, I get it. There's one thing, like, not one to deal with whatever, but like, really, you're gonna let this child take the fall for murder, which is what it's just happened. I mean, because Malik didn't make it, so like, and I mean, that's a lot of heroin. That's a lot of drug possession. Like, I don't know. I thought we'd see him at least let the kid like go, but he's just like, yeah, cool.
It broke my heart watching Oscar watch that. But what was even more sad, it was when Oscar said, but can I still visit him in prison? Like, the pain that poor boy is feeling at the rejection of his father, and the desire, even knowing his father completely rejected him, still desperately wanting that connection.
Yeah.
It was devastating to see that.
Heartbreaking.
I apparently forgot to do a lead in for the preview because I just wrote the word no.
I actually thought that was your lead in because okay, so me watching the preview, that was my reaction. No.
Why is Haley getting beat up again?
Why does it have to be so aggressive? Like, what happens to our people? Like, I mean, can't they just do normal police work without like their life seriously being in danger every time? Like, this one looks bad for Haley.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're having anybody else leave the show. Otherwise, I'd be really concerned, actually, because
I'd be really sad if she goes, because I actually like her this year.
it looks bad. It looks bad.
It ended with a bat being brought down on presumably her head.
You know, though,
it can't be good.
We all talk about Kim being how good she is at everything, and Haley too. Though Haley has been through some brawls and has always come out the other end. So
the women on these shows get the snot kicked out of them,
which is really terrible.
Like, yeah. I mean, yes, we've seen the men, but I feel like we've seen all of our characters on PD get the crap kicked out of them in really horrible ways. But I feel like the ones who are repeatedly being beat up are the women.
Yeah, because they're tough and they can handle it.
That's right. Any of the others would have left the force, but the girls,
no,
they got this. And I think Haley, I wonder if we're going to see her channel, because we haven't seen her really deal with Jay. So I wonder because I don't even recognize the guy she was chained next to. So it's got to be a new case, at least of some sort. So I wonder if this is going to be tied to him some way, or we're going to see her do it. Because I feel like when they abuse the characters, it's when they need to deal with something.
Yeah. And I could see that. And I would like more resolution to the Jay situation, because I feel like it still has left a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Just say goodbye to him. Stop pretending he's there. And
say goodbye in a way that we can accept and not have
ruin him.
Harsh feelings towards him. Let them have a conversation. Let them decide that they need to just go their separate ways for now. Let her be okay with it, and then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and you know that Jesse Lee. So actually, his name is Soffer.
Oh,
I've been pronouncing it Sofer.
I might have pronounced it wrong too. So,
but I heard him say when it was a clip that was sent in our chat where he said why he's protesting with the writers, with Derek Haas, who was a writer in Chicago, or who is a writer in Chicago. And he said, I'm Jesse Lee Soffer. Like, oh, I have pronounced your last name wrong every single time I've said it.
Sorry, sir. So sorry.
But he said he is protesting and he's picketing because without writers like Derek Haas, there would have never been a Jay Halstead. And so you know that he's still been on that show. You know they finished out the season. They filmed everything for the season. It's all wrapped. It's just editing now. So the writer's strike isn't going to affect what comes out. It will affect into the next year, into the next seasons. But it's very clear that Jesse has stayed around that set. I mean, he directed an episode. He's been on set with them. He's still close with the cast. I don't think he's doing anything else right now. So it's very possible that maybe the finale will see him come by to say goodbye, which I think would be beneficial.
Anything, even if it's not him in person, I need more closure. I'm not satisfied with what we have.
Yeah. So that's next week. This was kind of we were talking about this before the podcast, but this is just kind of a filler episode to bolster some of but I feel like PD doesn't really work towards, it's not like a cumulative season long thing that it's working towards one goal. It's a Dune case. But what they've done in the back half of PD is they've worked on a case, spent a week or two away from it, and then went back to that case and spent a week or two away from it, went back to the case. So I think that's why this felt like a filler episode, even though that's not how the cop shows are. It felt like a filler because we know that the big one that we're waiting for is coming.
Yes.
It's true. So, yeah. So on that note, we can jump into fire. And here, I make myself be humble because I like to be right. And I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't like to be right?
We all like to be right. Yes. In this case, it was me that was right.
And I was wrong. I hate being wrong, but Lacey's car.
I didn't hear you.
I'm not repeating it. You want to hear it? You go rewind it. Lacey's car was the one that hit the parked car when I thought she was in the parked car. The angles were so confusing in that last episode because I did actually rewind that end scene. I was like, wait, what? Where is she? And it looked like she was parallel to the building, but instead she was at an angle. So it was the angle's fault, not my fault. Jeanette was right.
Funny
That Lacey
how I figured it out, though.
That Lacey had been drinking and she got a ride home from someone who was more drunk than she was even.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of a bummer.
This whole storyline, this was my favorite part of this episode.
I agree with that.
It was just so heartbreaking. I really love, though, the character development and the deepness we're getting out of Gallo this season. Like, before, he's always just been kind of that funny, like, character. Like, there was a little something, I don't know. It was just never anything serious. So seeing him deal with this family drama and all this, I mean, seeing him in action during this rescue of hers was pretty impressive. Like, even when the guy said, "Are you a doctor?" and he's like, "No, paramedic," but he's just directing people.
No, he said firefighter.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I loved it because he's not a lieutenant. He's not any of those things. We don't get to see him giving orders and sort of directing these situations. And he did a great job.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, okay, I like this.
And I think we forget in the course of our everyday lives how much every firefighter has it in them to do this, to take control of the situation and to be a help. Because, I mean, like you said, we see, he's Stella's worker. Stella's the head of that bus.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
he's still trained and capable to do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just loved that. I love that she was okay too, because I was really worried that after all he's been through, that he was going to have to deal with that. And he stepped right up, like, ready to just, like, help her through this. Because, she was going to need someone, and she didn't want to. Understandable as well. She doesn't want to be a burden to him.
Sad.
It was really sad. And I'm glad that Dr. Charles sort of was the one we got. I always love it when we see Dr. Charles anyways.
Yes.
But I was glad that he was kind of the one that said this to Gallo. It was like, she's going to need someone, because, I mean, that's the worst part, I think, about when we see in these shows, like, someone who's an addict. They don't want to take these, but it's going to be torture not taking them and not, like, being able to, like, relieve your pain. So I'm glad that Blake was willing to, like, stick up and say, I'll take care of her. He can kind of monitor that. I liked them booze proofing the house. Like, that was really entertaining. Him and Violet. I'm gonna go back. I don't know. What did you think of, like, Violet and him this episode? Because there wasn't anything, like, romantic thrown out there, but there was, for
support.
Me, maybe I'm just seeing it because I want to see it. But the vibes back out there that, like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be too much of a cop out for us to put her with Carver.
I agree. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I think that they're just sort of teasing us with that to keep us like, well, no, this is what we want. But I think what we're seeing there is them return to their comfortable pattern, because it was a little stilted. He said how he felt. She sort of said how she felt, and it's been a little awkward. In this episode, we see a return to normal. And I think that return to normal is going to lead towards, okay, I can hear your feelings now. I can deal with them and I accept them. And I think it's going to lead to better, but I think that they need to get back on those friendly, close terms before they can go forward. And so I was excited to see the support there this week.
Yeah.
Because he even he was super vulnerable with her when he said, and this was heartbreaking, when he said that this was the first time saving her of all the saves that Gallo has had. And he's had a lot of awesome saves, that this was the first time that he felt he redeemed what happened to his family, even a little bit. And it was just a little bit.
I hate that he even feels like he has to redeem that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a child. And so just the idea that he carries that guilt with him, like, just is really upsetting.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad it was Violet there. I'm glad that, because it could have easily been, they could have had Ritter or Carver in this storyline instead of her. So I'm glad they chose to let it be her to be his support system. I was really worried when Lacey disappeared from the hospital, though, that
it's
like, oh no, he's worked so hard to, like, set this up for you. And I mean, I think I had tears in my eyes. Didn't cry, but I had tears in my eyes when she showed up at the door, and she was
100%.
I'm not positive that she wasn't going to run and then changed her mind, and that's when she came empty-handed, because I'm like, how long did it take you? Like,
she was walking and she didn't know Chicago, and she didn't know his apartment.
I still want to say, why wouldn't you have just waited? I don't know. In my head, I think maybe she did have hesitation, but then she was like, no, I'm gonna accept this help. So either way, she ended up in the right place. But when he hugged her, I was just like, oh my God. I think I wrote, I'm like, my sweet little baby Gallows face. Like, I said, I want to kiss it, and not in a sexual way at all. I just want to kiss it because he just looks so freaking adorable that
He did.
Man, it got me. Definitely teary-eyed. Definitely teary-eyed. And then, there's that relationship, which I loved. And then Maureen, this episode.
Now,
with my magician.
You people watching or listening, you people, our listeners and our watchers, you people sounded really, I don't know,
you
mean
people.
I can't think of the word, but we always do like a basic outline. So we are giving you the things that, you're here to listen to. And I intentionally did not give Jeanette the magician topic.
No, and that was not what she told me, how she told me to lead into this topic either, because I can't even try to say anything else other than like, he gives me the ick so much, and it gets worse every time I see him. And he actually made like Brett give me the ick this episode. Like, stop with the magic tricks.
This is the first episode. I was like, okay, this could end now, and I'm totally fine with it.
So you would agree that I'm right on that one as well.
Well, here's the thing. It's not so much about the magic for me. It was the cheesy line he came in there about needing a doctor or needing saving, or it was something weird. The way he asked her, and even Violet was like,
he's weird.
If you guys are going to play doctor, I'm leaving. And she laughed. Well, I get the funny reference there. It was just like, dude, can you be normal? And
no,
ask him this in a normal way?
This is why I'm convinced Matt Casey is coming back to rescue her.
Absolutely.
Which we do know he's coming back for the finale. This has been confirmed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it has been. But there's no way that you can bring Matt Casey back for a single episode, end it the way you did, and then not have him ever come back. No, she's ending up with Matt.
And you've got this grossness happening on the other side.
They're making it more cringy every episode.
Yeah. Well, it's been cringy in my opinion. Like, I can't stand to see his face. Like,
I think he's nice.
It's a beautiful face. Like, it's not even that, because it's a beautiful face. I have the ick. It's not going to cut it.
Well, Brett is rightfully unsure here. With him, and she even says, I think space will be good. And I like how she put it. She said she's still trying to put herself together after Hurricane Matt blew through town. So, okay, another indication that she's not staying with Dylan. So we're not getting invested. Now we're just going to want this relationship to end because we know it's going to. So just end it already. Just why make us watch her try to do this for him? Like, why? She's not good at magic. She doesn't like magic. She doesn't do magic. Why are we putting in all this effort when you know they're going to break up?
The only thing entertaining about this is the fact that Mouch is good at magic. And the thing is, it's not just the magic, because seeing Mouch do it didn't give me any kind of ick.
No,
I thought that's
it was endearing.
And that fits. I like it. Do more magic tricks. I would watch them if Mouch is doing them, not when Dylan or Sylvie are doing them.
It was a little fun to watch her keep failing. And then Carver, when he was like, that's my card. Carver. Is it really? Well, it's the same suit.
There was another one where Gallo, she said, like, what'd she say? Like King of Hearts. And he was like, close. Queen of Spades. Like, it was nothing like it. Or those are not what the actual cards were, but it was nothing like it. But I loved how he said close. Nope. I mean, it was a card. And
then, of course, you contrast that with Cap. When she ran into the hallway, he just turned and ran the other direction.
Oh, I mean, that part was amusing and made me laugh. But like, I wanted to crawl under my blanket when she was
watching her do it. Yeah. That was weird. And even Mouch was like, I am so uncomfortable right now.
Just pass out the candy, like Mouch said, and be done with the whole situation. Like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't like watching her do magic, but I was glad that anything that's, because I feel like Mouch does more things for Brett than he does for the average person in that firehouse.
Oh, absolutely.
Except for Herman. But he's doing this, I don't even remember the name of her medical thing that she's doing right now.
Paramedicine.
Yes, the paramedicine. She got him to do that with her. She got him to do the magic with her.
Yeah.
She's like, Mouch loves her like a daughter almost, it feels like.
No, I agree.
I like seeing them together. And she was successful then, but it was way more of an accident than Actually,
And she was like,
actually pick it
"Really?"
right card.
Yeah.
The shot
the
on her
kids-
face.
Then the kids were mad because they wanted the candy. I think they wanted her to get it wrong. So
Yep. How dare you be good now?
right.
But we got this goofiness of the Brett storyline running throughout, and which I loved. It was great. I could have done without the weird Dylan aspect or seeing her do it, but it was the Mouch and her that I loved. And it was balanced. And I think this is something that Fire is really good at balancing, is the levity with the heavy. And they did that in this episode with the scary situation we had with Ramsey, who I hate that guy too.
Ooh, yeah.
Hate him.
And I knew I don't know. I remember him, and I knew somehow he was coming back because I was like, this can't be all that we're doing, just
right,
attacking Ritter the way that he did.
But even the way Ritter came at him, like there's no one in the Chicago universe attacks someone of power that way and sees no repercussions for it, unless you're Voight.
Oh, yeah.
And even then,
he still had repercussions. He went to jail for a while, so yeah. No, but this was like a serious storyline. I mean, that like I was again nervous, like the chemical fire, like poor Carver, which I love him more and more every episode. The way that he was just like, he is, which I mean, I know they're all of our firefighters. I hope that all real firefighters are like this, that are willing to like, I mean, they're truly, mask got knocked off. He's like dying over there, but he's still getting his rescue in. It just makes me like, every time. But this storyline, I love the part of Bowden versus Ramsey, because I'm thinking, Ramsey, you think you've messed with people, like you have not messed with Wallace Bowden. He was not gonna back down no matter what happened. When he went into his office, I was just like, oh, he's like, I'd be scared, I think.
Of Bowden or of Ramsey?
Bowden, like if Bowden came in like with it was a good aggressiveness because he was there to like get stuff done, but I think I'd be terrified. Like,
well, I mean, even before that, because he was asking around and suddenly Ramsey was where Bowden was picking up food. And even I don't remember if it was Ritter or Herman, but one of them said, "What did he track your car and he just followed you where you're at?" Like it was disturbing. At first, I was like, "Oh, coincidence," and then when he offered him things, I'm like, that's really uncomfortable. And Bowden was the one who was like, "Found out this is happening with somebody. I'm gonna take him down." Like, so he openly threatened him, and I had to cheer when he was walking away. The look on his face. There was, and this is one thing I admire about the guy who, I don't know his name, but the guy who plays Bowden. When there's a moment like this, usually like guys will walk away with swagger and a smile.
Yeah.
But Bowden just walks away and he's got fierce determination, no smile written all over his face. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. No, I loved it. And I also love that they went easy on Ritter. When Ritter had to confess like what had happened, I was really nervous because sometimes Bowden can get a little like grumpy, like when you're not following, which rightfully so, but I was glad that as soon as like Ritter mentioned like that Ramsey was going to come after Herman and he didn't want to like add to Herman's plate, the look on Herman's face was just like, oh man, and even Bowden, you couldn't say anything after that because I think everyone in that firehouse would have like tried to take it on themselves to avoid like Herman having to deal with anything during that point in time. So I don't know. I was glad that worked out okay. But I'm also glad that it's out in the open because the Ritter-Herman relationship is one of my favorites. So I think that was just a moment to kind of build on that as well.
I agreed. And I mean, they are the ones who, of course, it was because Engine was the one that went out to that place, but it was Herman and Ritter that went into the store.
Yeah.
Herman joking around when he got in there. Wouldn't it be great if we found flyers? And then this girl comes around the corner.
Yeah. Of course, in that store, then of course we see that girl, and I mean I recognized her immediately. She was like, "Oh, well now this all makes sense. This is the girl that he was like having his affair with," and they could not get out of there fast enough. But I do think it's wild that she remembered. Like I understand that Ramsey remembered because he was sort of, I mean, he was going to take him down, do all this. I mean, she just saw him for like a minute. I guess he talked to her about it, which is why she remembered this, But
was it so much that she remembered Herman and Ritter, or that, hey, firemen came in for a surprise inspection today in this shell company?
But I think she also recognized them. So
I do too.
I don't know. I think there was, I don't know if I would have, but either way, but back to like when Bowden went to Ramsey's office and he walks in, there's all these people and like Ramsey's trying to be smooth and kind of like well, here we're gonna like, honor you and like do all these great things for you. And I love that Bowden's like, no, like we're still not gonna play this game. Like, I just admire him a lot for that.
And I love when he went in there and Ramsey was like, come into my office. He's like, you got something to say to me, just say it.
Yeah. He was so aggressive, but a good aggressive. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Well, it's because Bowden, like you said, he's not playing games. If you want to be upfront about what he's doing, Bowden's being upfront about what he's doing. He's attempting to take you down.
Yeah.
Can you be a man and do the same?
Yep. No, he's not going to. That's obviously not over, right? I mean, I think we're going to have to see more of that storyline. I want to see more of that storyline. I want to see that continue, and I want to see Bowden fully take him down.
Do you think if Ramsey he's allowing these people to cut corners with storing chemicals and we're building up to something there, and I think it's going to tie into the finale because that's the biggest situation they're facing right now. They're surely not going to bring a new one on for the finale. That I think, well, I don't think, but I'm wondering if that's going to tie into Adam's undercover thing because they have a chemical thing that they're doing that they're going to create bombs to explode all over the city.
Yeah. And I think it's got to all tie in, right? Because I think also the whole like terrorism thing that Matt was working on has to tie in as well. I mean, because it's supposed to be domestic terrorism, right? I mean, like, I don't know. It all feels, if it doesn't all tie in, they have missed a major opportunity here because the storylines are just, I mean, they're writing themselves at this point to like just flow together. So,
and if Med is first, the bombs could have gone off, and then we can see people going into Med, taking care of them, and then Fire, we can see them cleaning up the aftermath, trying to figure out how it started, and PD taking them down. There, yeah. we created the whole crossover for you.
We've done your job for you. We're good. Who needs the writer's strike? We can come in and do this. We just did it.
I wouldn't go that far. We like our writers.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that. Shows would suck.
So I agree with you. I don't think it is over at all. I think they're going to tie them all together. I think it'd be great if they tied all three together because what a booming finale that would be.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a little more tension from Brett next week because the preview is Brett heavy and the wording on the screen is Firehouse feud ignites, which super cheesy headline, but still it's there. And we see that first shift on the ambulance. Oh, it felt weird to say ambo. I don't know why, but I'm not a paramedic. I don't get to say that word. But they didn't fill their bags. And it sounded like Violet and Brett's patient died because something was missing from the bag. I think that's why Brett, I mean, that has to be the reason why Brett's that upset, right? That she threatens to quit if charges aren't filed against. Jeez.
Yeah, files aren't charged. I was really trying to figure out. I was like, that sounds right to me, but it totally didn't. Like, I don't know.
That's the only thing I can come up with. The only reason I can come up with why Brett would have taken it that seriously too. She looked angry too. Like she looked fiery angry at Bowden, which is pun, an accidental pun there because she threatens to leave if basically this other person isn't fired. So I obviously, maybe this is going to play into her being comfortable leaving with Matt. Of I can't work here anymore. Maybe somehow it's going to be there, but I hope not because we want to see her have a good relationship with 51 when she leaves.
Yeah, definitely. And then I don't know. I can't imagine like her being that upset to threaten to quit, and Violet just being like, "No, that's cool." Like I feel like they would be like a team on that. So I don't know. I'll be curious.
But Violet was almost a little shocked when Brett was that angry at it in the preview. At least that's what it looked like to me.
Well, maybe Brett's. That'll be interesting, I think.
Maybe she's just coming unglued.
Maybe.
And she just needs a break. Maybe this will make her not get fired.
Got her. Yeah. She can't handle Dylan and his nonsense anymore.
It was witchcraft magic that was performed on her to move out.
Maybe, right.
But maybe she just doesn't quit, but she takes herself away for a bit and thinks about what she wants and what she's struggling with, and then comes back and says, listen, this is the situation. And then that's how she leaves. I don't know. But I feel like she's going to be gone by the end of the season because unless what's Matt Casey's real name? Jesse.
What? If you hadn't asked me. Now all I can think of is Jesse Lee Soffer. And then
that and Jesse Smollett are the only two that I ever think of.
Jesse Spencer.
Yes. See, they all start with S's. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
But I think I haven't heard that he's coming back permanently. I've just heard he's coming back from the finale. And of course, because of the writer's strike, we have no idea what the next year is going to look like.
Yeah. I mean, my idea situation would be he's coming back permanently.
That would be nice.
Them both. But
then does that mean we're losing Severide too?
People come for my head if I say that I would sacrifice Severide to have Casey back.
Oh, I would not.
I would. So don't come at me. I'm sorry. I love Taylor Kinney. He's fine, but I enjoy Matt Casey more than I do Severide.
I like Matt Casey, but he is too.
I am not feeling the Severide void like everyone else is. I don't care.
I don't feel a void.
I felt more of a void when Casey left the show than I am right now.
But I feel like that's because we're not getting a lot of Stella either. So what we were getting when Matt Casey left was a lot of Brett. So we're seeing directly how his absence directly affects one of our favorite characters. Stella's not on as much, so we're not seeing how Kelly's absence affects her directly. Yeah. You don't like Stella either?
No, I do like her, but I'm just saying it's actually surprising. It's not bothering me that I'm missing that. Like, I'm not affected by this at all. Now, granted, Fire is also my least favorite of these three shows. Not because it's not wonderful. It is, but it's just my least favorite. So I feel like any of those leaving don't affect me as hard as like sometimes other stuff affects
my favorites are the order we're talking about them today.
No, you'd have to switch Med and Fire for me.
Not for me. But I think I didn't feel a void when Matt Casey left, and I don't miss him that he's gone. I like Matt Casey just fine. I probably feel about Matt Casey the way you do about Severide. But for me, it was more, I did not like Severide at first because of how he treated Matt Casey. But Severide has always been Severide. He's consistent. He is faithful to who he is. He does grow, though. We've seen growth from him. We've seen him become a better man, but he has always been who he is. And he maintains that. Casey, it feels like he's just driven by emotions. And if he, like, even when he was dating someone, or he broke up with Violet and then she was dating someone else, like, he was really mean to her and just.
Mean Gabby?
Maybe was it her that she was mean to? No.
Violet. He didn't date Violet.
I meant Brett.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, he didn't date Violet. He's really running through those paramedics.
Well, I think that Casey is too led and dictated by emotions and by doing the right thing, but he bases the right thing off of what he's emotionally feeling. And that's not always what the right thing is.
I love that about him, so it's okay.
No, I like Severide's ability to do the right thing, even if it costs him. But I know I'm not like, oh, Severide, come back. It's not the same without you. I don't feel that way, but I would prefer Severide over Casey.
Disagree.
The one person who I would be extremely upset if they left the show. Do you know who that is?
Herman.
Yeah.
Same.
You take Herman away and I'm going to be devastated.
Same. No, Herman,
I don't get how more people
Mouch,
don't
Violet,
feel that way.
Like, I think Mouch is another one for me. I think
yes.
Violet, I love her like more than any of the females. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are my only three on Fire that I think that I would actually like throw a fit if they left the show.
I wouldn't be like devastated, but I would be pretty sad if Capricorn left though.
But I think
I would get over it quickly.
Like, no offense, because they don't have strong stories.
That's exactly it.
I don't love them because I just don't think they would affect the daily.
Mm-hmm. Life. And it would just be because the nature of the show would change because Cap's humor wouldn't be there, and Tony's stoicism wouldn't be there. So it would just change the nature of the show. But I would get over it quickly. All that to say, I think Matt Casey's coming back.
He's at least coming back for an episode, so yes. I'll take it.
So as we lead into Med, that's what's coming next week. That's what's coming down the pike for Fire. But in Med, this was something that I was excited to get right. But I mean, I can't take a whole lot of pride in it because the preview basically said this was happening.
Let's not get too excited because we don't know how this all plays out. Let's hope that I do right in all of my predictions.
I will be proven right. Watch. Bet.
I hope that you are proven right this time. Like I am. I want it to happen because I'm terrified, because here's the thing too. Luigi Satil, okay, because I follow him like everywhere or whatever. He's been posting, and I think he even posted something like, let's hope like Dean is okay or something like that. And so I wrote right on there. I said, I'm going to need all of my Archer men to be just fine going forward. And of course, I'm like, let's not just Dean here. Like, I'm going to need every Archer man to survive what is coming down the line and be just fine, because I'm nervous. I am so nervous. I don't know. I mean, we all knew he was going to offer the kidney. Of course he was going to offer him a kidney. We saw that coming a mile away. And we saw that Dean was going to be really angry with Hannah, which he was. He got over it, I think, decently quick within the span of the episode. But I think a lot of that had to do with this patient that was in there and sort of the parallels of how this was working out. I mean, we've got a sick mom who has no, I mean, there's really no end in sight as far as what can help her. And we've got this poor teenage girl that has gone out and got herself pregnant in hopes that those stem cells would be able to save her mom. And I feel the sentiment. I do. I mean, you're feeling absolutely helpless and you're in helping her. But
she didn't think it through all the way. She didn't think of what it truly meant, what the implications were, how it would affect her, what it would do to her. Yeah. Because her only thought was, Mom needs this. I need to get it for her.
Yeah. Which, I mean, she did tell Hannah, she said, I do want kids one day. I'm just moving up the timeline. So okay. But unfortunately for her, this ends up being a pregnancy that can't survive.
Yeah.
And Hannah was a little too emotional about this, in my opinion, in that
she let her go.
She should have fought harder to get the girl into surgery immediately after the girl was like, well, let's just wait a little while. I understand the young girl wanting to do that, but Hannah's the doctor and she should have known that was not a good move to make. And I don't think she should have allowed I mean, I know you can't stop it. She should have pushed harder instead of letting the girl,
because she was going off of, well, this is what my patient wants, but would you have pushed harder if it was a different situation with this? I mean, if there was no mom who needed cells, if there was no 17-year-old who was doing this?
Well, I think even had there not been the situation that's going on currently with Dean and Sean, for a second, I forgot his name. What's going on with them, I think had that not been in the background of this whole storyline, I think she would have reacted differently. I think that is what is on her mind, because I think she does care for Dean so much that honestly, they're gonna fall in love. I've just decided. This was the first episode that I don't want it. I'm still not on board, but I really think it's happening.
I hope it's with
I really do.
Sean.
I hope so, but I really see her and Dean falling in love. It's just
they've been playing to that, which makes me hope that maybe they aren't giving it to us what it seems like they're trying to surprise us.
We'll see, but she's sure going to a lot to try to make sure that he's, which I understand. I don't know. I think she would have done that for any. The thing is, though, Hannah has sort of a bleeding heart, and that I think she would do that for almost anyone. I think she would do that for Will. I think she would do that for anyone there that she considers a friend. So let's hope that is going to be our saving grace here. But
what we learned in the last episode was that she lost her mother when she was born because her mom didn't go get help for her, and she didn't want any of her kids to know. So any situation that involves a sibling or a child and a parent, she's going to try to right the wrong that she felt was done in her life. And that's what it is with Dean and Sean. That's what it is with this mom and this daughter, is she's trying, although she's going a little backwards here, where she's not telling the mom what the daughter's going through. But again, it's from the standpoint of, would the girl rather be put in jeopardy, and she's young enough, we can probably save her, or would she rather go without her mom?
Yeah.
So.
No, I can definitely see that. I mean, I don't know. This episode was a little, I don't know. I was a little surprised with her. Yeah. I wasn't surprised with Dean going to the mom and telling her against that, because here's the thing. I understand that because the girl's pregnant, she automatically gets what they call it, medical emancipation or whatever it is. But at the same time, I think that's the time when a rule's allowed to be broken. I was on his side for telling that. I mean, this is her child.
Because, what he said, he actually justified it, and rightly so. It's not like he grasped at any justification. It was, she's going into an emergency surgery. She is a minor going to emergency surgery. Yes. If she goes into distress, her mother is going to need to be the one to make the decisions. She can't make a decision if she doesn't know what's going on. Right. So it was legally okay for what he did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at him for that either.
Yeah. But, the other part to this storyline is, finally, I'm glad that Dean he goes to Sean and he tells him that he won't say no. but I also kind of was like, can you please say no? Because I'm really afraid. I still have it in the back of my mind that something. Maybe the thing is, maybe it's gonna be fine, but I feel like our cliffhanger is gonna be not knowing. At
That's
least
gonna
how
stress
it'll
me out
play.
more now because of the writer's strike. No, 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 no.
I think that's. I think if it was me writing the show, obviously that's the cliffhanger you roll with, because that's a big one.
Kind of hoping the cliffhanger would be summed up with the crossover that we're all hoping is going to happen.
I don't see how Med plays into that other than like there being patience, but it always comes first. So I don't see how Med's going to play into any of this.
I think we played it out earlier where the bomb's going to go off and all the patients are going to go to Med, and then we're going to see Fire working on the aftermath, and then we're going to see PD arrest. But you're right, there wouldn't be a cliffhanger from that.
Nope.
And of course, we see that on Med, they do 17,000 patients an episode, so they can do multiple things in a finale. I'm all stressed out now.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stress you, but I think it's going to be left as a cliffhanger.
We're not going to know until like January or longer. Oh,
look, I'm gonna like hope for the best that this is going to get resolved and like things are going to go off smoothly.
Because even if it's resolved this summer, that means that nothing is going to be able to start filming in August or even September, or likely not even October. They still have to go through their writing tables. They have to go through their teams. They have to do all this stuff to even be starting to film or even thinking about filming. So we probably won't get any new seasons until very minimum of January.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of the writing.
What am I going to do?
We're going to have to go hit it hard with the Netflix and
watch everything that Netflix has to offer. I'm going to rewatch everything. I'm going to have to rewatch some of these. Like I can't go that long without any Chicago. Like I can't do it. We're going to have to hit hard, try to get some interviews. We need to talk to these people then.
Yes.
That's what
so if you are listening to this and you're an actor or a writer or a director or a crew member of any kind on any of these Chicago shows, we want to talk to you.
Yes, please.
But I do think we can't even like watch the Hulu shows or the Peacock shows or the Paramount shows because the writers' strike is going. So it's not like there's going to be any new of those.
What about School Spirits? Like, surely that's going to like, I hope that doesn't ruin any of these that are on the cusp of being renewed.
Yeah, and that maybe I bet that's why so many of these shows haven't been able to say they're renewed or not, because the writer's strike was probably in the works way before we heard about it.
You're probably right, because there's been so many shows that I felt like should have already made their announcement and they had not.
Even with our regular shows, like there's a lot that we're like, oh, that's a weird. Why are we hearing about it so soon, or why are we hearing about it so late?
Because even with Grey's Anatomy, we heard Grey's Anatomy got renewed, but didn't hear about Station 19 for like a long time, and I was like, why would we not do this at the same time?
So we'll see more of the Archers, and I mean we're gonna see more of them this year. Yeah, in the last 3 episodes here in the back 3, but.
Me and Luigi, we're Facebook friends. I'll just have to be like, hey, have you heard anything? Like, did you survive your surgery or not?
By the way, Jeanette wasn't saying that she and I are Facebook friends. She's saying that she and one of the cast members.
More like that.
No. Because Maureen, I just want to make it very clear that Maureen has no inside knowledge of anything. I just wanted to make that very, very clear.
I don't actually either, though. We're being honest here.
So I don't think Dean will say no. I mean, Dean says he won't say no, and obviously Luigi says nope. Sean says,
yeah, I'm glad you called him Luigi. Yeah.
Technically, it's not wrong, but Sean says, I need to do this, which that line is a little concerning to me, because like I've gone through this process before, and I didn't do it because I needed to give it to somebody. Yeah, I did it because it was the right thing and I was able. And I get that this is Sean's dad, but coming from them getting renewed in the relationship and him saying, I'm coming to make amends, all that sort of stuff. I hope that's not why he thinks he needs to do it, is for the amend thing, to save his dad when his dad saved him. I hope he's doing it because you're my dad, I love you, and I'm able to.
Maybe we still don't know if he's a match. So there is still that. He's going to
be a match.
Well, it could be.
It's an NBC drama. He's going to be a match.
On Fire Country, we just had this go down, and like Jake was trying to give his kidney to he was not a match. So like it is possible. Okay. It's possible.
No, we've established that this is the cliffhanger that they're leaving us on, is they're going to do the surgery. And we're not going to know if they die or not.
I agree.
Look at what you did.
What did I do? I'm so sorry.
That scene from Home Alone popped in my head when Kevin spills the milk on things. And his uncle goes, look what you did, you little jerk.
That makes me mad every time I watch it. I'm like, who lets somebody talk to their children like that? I'm just saying.
If any of my brothers spoke to any of my kids like that, they would get slapped across the face. Like,
absolutely.
No. You
get
don't
out of
get
my
to
house.
do that.
Go ahead. Get out. No.
Anyway. Speaking of family members we want to hit.
Yes. That's, oh my, this guy, Liliana's brother.
I do not like him either.
No, he was creepy. I didn't like him. Like, he actually kind of scared me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different
from the
family
mafia.
dynamic. That's what I mean, I don't know. He had me feeling uncomfortable. Like, I didn't like it.
No.
Even just the way he spoke to Liliana made me feel uncomfortable. Like, he just,
the way he spoke to Charles.
he gave me creeps and I didn't care for it at all.
No. And, Liliana, the reason it confused me is because when Liliana brings this up to Dr. Charles, my brother's coming. I want you to meet him. She seemed excited.
Yeah.
But when they're all sitting together in the end, she seemed like she was afraid of him. So I was like, I can't tell what exactly your dynamic is.
Yeah.
You
So
clearly
maybe
have mixed feelings about your brother.
Maybe he said something to her before Dr. Charles got there that now has her on edge with like the situation, because she definitely did seem excited. And so it was a weird turn of events for me.
And it felt almost like he was borderline making fun of Dr. Charles and borderline trying to get something from Dr. Charles. And I felt like he didn't just want stories. And when he spoke to her in Polish and he asked her, he said something and it made her very uncomfortable. I almost felt like he's trying to extort something from Dr. Charles.
It was weird. I didn't like it.
And Liliana clearly didn't like it either. She lied for him. And the reason we know that is because, this whole scene was brought up by this is the only show in the Chicago world that does this. They use their patients to highlight a relationship in the show. Yeah. And it happened in this one with the brother. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names, but the brother who was deaf, and then a sister who was his ASL interpreter. Yeah,
this was a sad story. And this was, I don't know. I felt for the sister though. I will admit, because I knew she was lying. I could tell, like,
yes,
was, but at the same time, like, was she completely wrong in what she was doing? Yeah. Did I understand? And would I have been possibly tempted to do it myself in that moment? Maybe. Like, he was clearly like, I understand the perspective that he wanted to hear the voices, because this is something that he can't do in the real world. So I understand that sentiment as well. But you can't let something like this progress.
No,
because then you become a danger to yourself, the people around you. It's you need the medicine. And so I get why she thought, and maybe she thought once he had some medicine and the voice is dimmed, and
I think that is exactly what she thought.
Mind, and we could make this decision. But he got really upset, and I kind of liked Maggie spying though. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Because she took away the medicine, took away the one thing that he had probably longed for, that he could finally have. And it seemed like more of a miracle than a medical deficiency or a mental deficiency. And I like that Dr. Charles was able to pick up on that. And I felt really bad for Dr. Charles. And the look, I think Eve pointed this out in our chat, the look on the man's face when he was strapped down on that gurney, unable to sign, unable to speak, unable to have a voice at all because he had to be physically restrained. It was devastating. And Dr. Charles took that personally, because this is what Dr. Charles does for a living. He helps those who are in mental situations that are struggles and that are trials. And to know that he was the cause of this for this man, and to know that he had to actively take away his only voice, it was horrible for Dr. Charles. Yeah. More so for the deaf man, obviously. Yeah. But it was just sad all around to see that. So I liked when Maggie, when she was really good about the spying, because there's a moment when she was doing something with his hand and she just kind of peeked up over the top of her eyes, and then she went like that and she went back down. And I like that she didn't give, because I kind of thought when she gave her that skeptical look, I thought she was going to call her out on it right away. Yep. She didn't. She pulled Dr. Charles out, and I shouldn't have expected anything less from Maggie. I know. But she pulled Dr. Charles out and let him know what was happening. Yeah. And through that, was able to communicate with him. And I was a little sad that his sister was like, well, I'm not going to be a part of this. If he wants to do this without any hopes of getting better, I'm not going to sit by and watch. And I hope there was a resolution at the end, which was nice. It needed to happen.
I think I understood. I mean, at least for a minute. In my head, she was always coming back, but
it was just hard to watch her leave him.
Well, and I mean, but I don't know. I could see where the idea of that, not only because we find out in that conversation with Dr. Charles that she sort of raised him from the time he was like a teenager.
Yep, that's it.
So it's not even necessarily being his sister. You were almost a motherly figure to him as well. And so I could say as a mother, if my child was choosing something that I absolutely knew was harmful, I would I could see the urge to just remove myself from the situation because I don't know that I can watch it. Just
absolutely. When my kids are adults, if they make decisions that I think are dangerous to them, I won't, and I can't get through them, I would have to walk away for a moment.
Yeah. That is going to be the worst, by the way, but
we're not going to discuss that.
Nope.
But it was that situation that made Charles very hyper aware that what Liliana gave him as a reason was obviously not happening. I mean, again, this is what Dr. Charles does for a living. He could pick up on the sketchiness that we picked up on as viewers. He was seeing his body language, his tone, the way he mocked him, the way he mocked Liliana, the way he said, even the thing he said about her cleaning, like, oh my gosh, you're a terrible person.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like him even the tiny bit.
No. And I don't think we're done with him. I really hope that in the end, it doesn't end up breaking Charles and Liliana, their relationship or their heart. But it was nice. This is what I did like this episode is that we've been talking for weeks and I feel like months even about wanting the old Crockett back. And we not only did we get the old Crockett back a little bit, there was some of his Southern, I don't know why I put it into my eye when I said this, but there was some of he said a Southern phrase in there. I'm like, oh, okay, there's some Creole coming out in you.
What did he say? I remember
it had the word lick in it.
Yes. But see, I don't pick up on these things as nearly as much as you because, I mean, this is just how we talk.
Yeah, because it was when Tanaka was doing something, he interrupted him. He's something along the lines of, we'll take care of that lickety split or a lick of a flick or something like that. It was weird. It rhymed and it had the word lick in it. But it was the smoothness of his voice and the charm that he put in his smile and the way he said it. It was like he threw the Southern phrase out there because he knew it would charm whoever he was talking to.
He could read the phone book and it would charm. It didn't even make a phone book anymore. That's showing my age. He could read the dictionary to us and I think I would be charmed. I would just sit and learn, Look, I did not understand the unprofessionalism of these I guess there are other surgical interns, I guess they were, or I guess they're residents probably, right? Because that's what Tanaka is.
I believe so.
Right? Okay.
But even Crockett says you have been putting in their face how much better you are than in the months. You had to know that the first opportunity they were going to take you down a peg.
Yes. That is just not who
I hated Tanaka before that.
And so that's not, I don't care how much I hate someone. I would never make fun of someone over something like this. It's clearly embarrassing. That's not who I am. And so I can never understand when other people would do that. I don't know. But I liked that Crockett was sort of, I mean, and obviously it hurt his, Tanaka, what's his first name? It's Kai. Is that right?
I don't know.
I think it's
I just learned this week it was Tanaka. I don't like him.
It's actually Tanaka Reed is his last name. It's like a hyphenated something. Yeah. I think his first name's Kai. I mean, obviously it hurt his confidence, which was crazy to see him be not confident in his abilities and what he could do. And I mean, Crockett being Crockett though. I mean, he found a way to bring that back. When he I thought he was really getting called away. And I was thinking, oh my gosh,
I did too.
And then when he walked out there and he was like, can you pull it up so I can watch to that nurse? I was like, look at him being slick. He's doing that just to to give him a chance to show him man, you can do this. You don't need to worry about those people. And
Nora was horrified by the way that he was watching that on a screen. She's like, people watch that? Why? Well, that's what he does for a living. And she went, he watches that for a living? No. He performs the surgery on purpose. I mean, I would hope so.
And he makes a lot of money doing it, honey. A lot.
But I think it's interesting that Tanaka has lost his confidence because of something that has happened. And we've been watching Crockett suffer with confidence because he's relying so heavily on 2.0. And in this episode, we see him not only help someone else regain their confidence, but we see old Crockett come back in this. We see him return to, no, of course, this is going to be easy. We've got this. It's not a problem. I'm good. You're good. And I hope that this is the upward trend we're going to see from Crockett from here on out.
I don't know that I ever want him to go back into 2.0 because
No.
I am happy with who he's come back to being, but I'm like, oh, please never put him back in there. I don't.
Absolutely. And even Tanaka, he said, he's like, I look at the chart and I saw that you weren't actually called out. And he's like, well, there was a mix up. And he said something along the lines of, I feel like I'm being lied to right now, but I don't care. Thank you.
Yeah. He appreciated it. And he's still, I think, humbled enough that maybe we won't see like the guy that we hated return.
Oh, I hope not.
We'll just see like the confident version. I hope not either. So
I would like to see our main characters, because even that one resident that Dean keeps working with, he went from really Zach. Yeah. He went from like really sort of nervous energy all the time to standing up to Dean. And I love that. And that's why I like him.
That's the thing. If we could just slow down on some of the patients,
I
could
know.
really focus a little more on all these doctors that we have.
Although we're missing one. Who's that one guy who was there for like 2 episodes? He went with
yeah, there was rock climbing.
Yeah. Where did he go?
Dr. Cuevas, like, where is she? Like, I want to see her again.
I forgot she wasn't here. Give us less and this is the cry of our hearts for the resident too. Give us less patience. Stop giving us new people and give us the people you already gave us.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, just I don't know. But I don't know. You can definitely give us less Jack. I'm really kind of over that.
Yeah, I'm over Jack now.
This played out exactly like I thought it was going to this week.
Yeah.
I'm really mad that I like called it. I was like, oh crap, this is what's gonna happen. But
now I'm trying to figure out how are they gonna fix this?
I don't know.
Because it cannot possibly stay a for-profit hospital. Like it can't.
No. Look how well that worked out for Chastain. It didn't. Okay, so
they better not be preparing to end this show.
No, I don't think so.
That's what Chastain did.
Yeah, but Dick Wolf will run his shows into the ground. Like, I mean, look at
SVU has like 30 seasons.
Yeah, no, there's no chance. I think we're good here.
Okay. Good.
I mean,
we need to find more shows like this that have longevity that we can plug into.
Grey's Anatomy, Maureen. Go watch Grey's Anatomy.
I'm good.
You'd like it, I think.
Oh, I don't think I would.
I think you would.
But see, I'm not huge on like this is my least favorite of the Chicago shows.
Oh, so you don't like the medical dramas like I do.
Not so much, no. Like I enjoy them if
Yeah.
they can keep my interest, but I prefer things
Go
like
watch
PD,
Station
like the
19.
mysteries.
Go watch Station 19 with me then.
I've been listening to the podcast about that, and I don't think I'd be interested in that either.
We're not highlighting the good stuff. I don't know. I'm never on them anymore. I feel like. You're good.
But with 2.0 and Jack, because I mean, this is we see that separation from Crockett 2.0. I hope we continue to, but we see it has caused another freaking problem for, I almost called it Chastain, for Med. We see another problem that's caused for Med. This board meeting thing has been a nightmare where Jack is still pushing for this, and they found, so it came down to a tiebreaker. They find someone, and of course, the person they found to break the tie in their favor suddenly has a brain tumor. Of course he does.
Of course he does.
And the wife, like, I get sort of the wife's idea of, I don't want to do this if it means that there'll be, paralysis. If there's things that I know my husband won't like, I don't feel comfortable. And Will goes to Song for help. And this is one thing that bothered me about this is, even if he was doing it to make sure that his vote counted, this was the best thing for the patient. It was going to 2.0 was providing the care that this man needed. It wasn't just like it was a optional thing that maybe, no, this man needed this surgery. And 2.0 was the only thing that could convince his wife to give him the surgery that he needed. Go ahead.
This
Say what you're going to say
ran-
about song. Go ahead.
This ran all over me. Okay. I've been waiting for this topic. Because
No.
I don't, this is just, I mean, I'm adding each week reasons why they are not meant to be together. Once again, I don't care if that was the reason that Will called in this favor, because that is who Will is. He is trying to do what's best for not only the patient, but for the hospital, for Sharon. He will do whatever it's not like he was doing anything to harm the patient. This actually was helpful. So it was a win-win type situation. But for her to like shame him the way that she did, don't shame him for the thing that I love most about him. Like, I was absolutely livid at her.
Yeah.
It made him actually feel bad. Did you see his face? Like, he felt bad for a second afterwards. Like, no, sir, don't feel bad for being the amazing, loving,
Just for, like,
caring
a
person that you
second.
are.
And then he went to, no, I did it because it was what was best for my patient.
It made me so mad. I was like, girl, I was talking to my screen. And she was like, I was like, do not give my Will a hard time. He has done nothing wrong here.
I think he's going to start turning on her. Not like a mean way, but I think he's going to be like, all right, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, because, I mean, she was just so...
I mean, you look at the flip side of that, though. The flip side of that is, were you willing to let this patient suffer so that the vote went the way you wanted? Yeah. Because a vote, putting him through to the vote meant that you were curing this man. Mm-hmm. So you're going to shame him for doing something that, no matter what way you look at it, was something this man needed, and it helped this man. You're going to shame him over that because the potential was, well, they're not going to make my hospital private, and I'm not going to get my gadgets now because you made me save this guy. Right. I'm sorry. You probably shouldn't be in medicine. That's your viewpoint.
I'm with her. I do understand. I won't say I'm with her. I do understand that, yes, sometimes these for-profit things, like, these things do cost money and money coming in. I understand that, but there's also there's obviously other ways to get money. There's grants for like research and different things that can also fund all of this.
And in no way should it come at the expense of a patient.
Exactly.
And I didn't get her feeling of betrayal there. I got that she felt like, because even before this, Will was telling her, I don't like this for-profit thing. I can't believe you do. Why do you like this? And that was how we got the information of, well, technology costs money. Yeah. But she was already well aware he didn't like this. And what should have concerned her more was her boss, who wants to turn this into a for-profit, was intentionally going to push ahead the vote to go that day so that this man couldn't count.
Yes.
If your boss was willing to let this board member recuperate, which was the original plan that Sharon and can't remember the other board member's name again. George, yes.
Okay.
Or are you just thinking of somebody else?
Looks like a George, and I don't know if that's actually true or not, but actually I think it is after I said it out loud. I think it is.
I think you're right. But I think that her and George, they were just, or at least Sharon was just kind of assuming, well, he's incapacitated. He's a board member. He gets a vote. So obviously we're pushing back the vote until he can recuperate. And George had to go to her saying, I'm sorry, Jack is pushing for it to go ahead now. That should be more of a red flag to you than anything else. How are you not shaming Jack Dayton for this? And then
she didn't care. She's getting her technology.
Exactly. And even after that, Jack Dayton went in the room and said, hey, you don't have to vote on this.
Yeah.
You're like the devil in disguise.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's just cruel. And of course, this man was so wowed by 2.0 that he changed his vote in favor of Jack Dayton.
As soon as like he got sick, I was thinking, oh God, 2.0 is going to save his life and he's going to be grateful for it.
That did not even cross my mind. I just thought that there was going to be someone else who they didn't ferret out who was going to vote yes.
Nope, I knew. I just knew. I was like, this is not going to go in their favor, even though they're trying so hard.
And we're even in this. We see Maggie went to a headhunter because she doesn't like the way the hospitals are. And Sharon said, I guarantee you it will not be privatized. And it just got put up for profit. So Maggie, we have to wonder if we're losing her character. Which would make sense because the actress is dealing with a cancer battle in her real life with ovarian cancer. So, I mean, she has not really taken a leave. Yeah. Of course, the writer's strike may afford her a leave. So maybe she won't have to leave by the time the writer's strike is done. But she does need a she needs to recover and recuperate.
Yeah.
And I mean, chemo is a hard thing.
Yeah.
So I was a little sad by that. I was actually a little nervous when she came and dressed up, and they were talking about doing the right thing or hiding things. Like, oh, did she just cheat on Ben after all of that freaking work?
Oh, that was like, there's no way. There's no way. I did wonder. I was like, who gets that dressed up to go have their license renewed? Because I don't.
I
I
don't.
mean, I make my face look nice, but the rest of me looks exactly like it always does.
I usually forget until like the last minute. I'm like, ah, crap. And then I just look like I don't know. I look like a frazzled mom on my driver's license photo all the time. But next week we get to see more of Archer, but it's really, truly not in a fun way.
I don't understand what's happening in this preview fully. Like what is he like? He finds something in like, but what's he find? Did they show us or did I miss it? Like, oh, they did show us and I looked away. What did they find then?
Read the description because I don't want to say it.
Oh, like what is it then?
I don't know, but it moves on its own. Whoa.
Okay. So
I don't do well. This is why I don't like medical shows so much. I don't do well with this.
I don't care. I'm gonna read to everyone what you said so they can know what we're okay. It says super gross. White thing comes out of guy's stomach and retreats back. Dean screams. That's basically what the preview did show. Like,
but then I wrote preview ends. Gross.
Wonder what it could be. I watched a lot of medical shows and I can't imagine what it could be. Unless it's like some big kind of like tapeworm or something. Yeah.
Of some. Oh no, I can't. I can't spend time on this radio. I can't. I'm trying, but I just. Ooh.
So but I love that will probably be the tiniest amount of the next episode because obviously we've got to deal with like this turning for profit.
Have you noticed that every single one of Med's previews shows the smallest bit from what's going to happen in the show?
I think Fire does it too. Like most of these, like you can't go by anything the Chicago previews show you because it's going to be the tiniest. PD usually gives you a good insight into what's happening. The other two do not. It's like the smallest little thing that's going to happen in the episode.
Well, I think with Med, it's worse because there's 1,800 patients in every episode. So you get one patient like, oh, okay, we're going to spend a millisecond on this and this. Okay, we got all these other people we got to focus on.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. This is the one time I appreciate that Med is going to do that. If this is the one episode where they just solely focus on this patient, I'm going to be so mad.
Watch.
I'm going to be so mad. It was rewatch it. It's super disgusting.
Yeah, because I must have looked away because I was thinking, because I heard him scream and I heard him say, like, what is that? But I was like, wait, I missed it. Like,
he actually went, whoa, and jumped back.
Can you imagine?
And then said, where did it go?
Yes. Where did it go? Gross.
It's what every person wants to know, a doctor has said while they're performing surgery on them with their stomach open. I have to say one more thing about it. It's seriously so gross. But the guy, Dean said, we can see there's a hole in your stomach. And like, from what? And then he's in there and this thing pops out. So this thing is like going through his organs.
Now I want to see it again.
Oh.
Is it like a little snake like poking?
Oh, no. No. Like, please don't make me visualize it.
Oh, okay.
I had the promo linked. So go, oh gosh, it's so gross. It's so bad. All right. So that is next week. That's what you got coming up for you. If you are still confused what we're talking about, just go look at the preview because there's no way that you need more information from us on what that preview contained. That would be insane. But you can join us over in our Chicago group and our Facebook page. It's Chicago Family Fan Club. You can join us over there. We've got spoiler bands up for the first 36 hours after Wednesdays, essentially. So what is it, Friday at 9? Friday at 10? Something like that. Somewhere in that general
Friday
area.
morning.
Yeah, somewhere. It's when we remember. But you can go over there, chat with us about the show. Let us know who you want us to reach out to, who you want us to get on there. Know that we won't be having many, if any at all, Chicago interviews until at the very, very least August or September. But we are trying to get those for you. So there's hope for that. We're hoping that the writer's strike doesn't go on too long, that the union can agree on their increase that they do need. I mean, everybody deserves raises. So, and they work hard. So we're hoping that comes to a speedy resolution so we can get our shows back by maybe January, maybe. Unless the writer's strike is like solved this week, there's no way we're getting them before January because they'll spend the whole summer fighting this out. I think most likely because no one wants to pay them more and they deserve more and they aren't going to take less than what they deserve, which is right.
Just having flashbacks to the former writer's strike that all the shows were crap during. So,
And what I kept thinking is during that last writer's strike, it was Friday Night Lights. We got Santiago on Friday Night Lights. And then they returned after writer's strike. He's like,
one of the most
Santiago
interesting characters that was added, other than and then he was
just gone.
Nope.
So you can go ahead and join us over there. We're always not always. We try to do fun things. We try to interact. But we have a lot of groups, a lot of Facebook groups. So we love to hear what you have to say about the shows, what you have to say about our podcast. Do not forget to subscribe to our podcast. The more you subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or on any other place that you listen to us on, the more we can get you content like good interviews and prizes, things like that. We have big plans for what we want to give you as fans to fans. And a lot of that depends on whether or not we can get more listeners. So don't forget to subscribe and share it with your family and friends. And we will see you on Sunday night, I believe. So next week, we will see you next week for the semifinales for 911 OG and 911 Lone Star. That episode will come out for you on Sunday night next week. And then our Grey's Anatomy Station 19 semifinale will be out next Wednesday. And of course, you've got Chicago episodes on Tuesday from now until the end of May. And then those are the finales. We've got 3 more Chicagos. We've got 2 more Grey's Anatomies. We got, I think, 3 more Station 19s. Same with 911. So we have more fun stuff coming up for you. So don't forget about that. And on that note, we'll see you in a week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.